Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and there's something I like to do on my Twitter account. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, it's twitter.com/ZeddyHS. And what I like to do is meme on like power creep in Hearthstone. I'll just show an example here of this tweet of like tribal Wind Fury in 2014 versus a tribal Wind Fury in 2021. And you can see how things have changed. So today I thought I'd go over 10 examples of just extreme power creep in Hearthstone history. And before we get into that list, just a friendly reminder, about 55% of my viewers are not yet subscribed to the channel. If you think I've earned your subscription, I would really appreciate it if you hit that button. It really helps the channel out a lot. Anyways, let's take a look at 10 of the most extreme examples of power creep in Hearthstone history. Starting at number 10, we have the rogue spell 4 mana Tinker Sharp Sword Oil. This was introduced during Goblins versus Gnomes, still a really good card to this day. And it gives your weapon +3 attack, or if you combo it, you give a random friendly minion +3 attack. So what has power crept this card? Well, it's Nitro Boost Poison. This is recently just came out in the mini set. It's 1 mana and it gives a minion +2 attack, but if it's corrupted, you also give your weapon +2 attack. So this costs 4 times less than oil. It gives a 1 less attack per requirement. It only needs to be corrupted, which means you basically play a card that costs more than a mana, which isn't too challenging, and it targets the minion rather than it being a random minion. Don't have to combo it, nothing like that. Just an incredibly ridiculous card that when it came out, I tweeted exactly this: it's gonna be nerfed, and it's definitely one of the most strong cards from the mini set and just seems ridiculously overpowered to me. It's insane in Wild and Kingsbane Rogue, it's insane in Standard and Weapon Rogue. It's just a ridiculous card and definitely makes oil look kind of silly in comparison. Number 9, we have the Hunter Legendary Hound Master Shaw. I believe this came out during the Witchwood. It's a 4 mana 3/6 and it gives all other minions rush. And you might say, well, what power crept this card? Well, Animated Broomstick is a 1 mana 1/1 neutral minion. Neutral. And has Battle Cry of give all other minions rush, plus it has rush itself. The only thing that basically makes this worse than how Master Shaw is it doesn't have an ongoing effect, but it itself has rush. It is extremely cheap, extremely flexible, and is a neutral to boot. Just a ridiculously strong card. Has seen play in countless decks and will continue to see play in countless decks. Hound Master Shaw was an incredible card, but why would you ever play it when you can play it for 1 mana now effectively? 2 copies of it to boot. At number 8, we have the Hunter Secret Snipe. It's 2 mana and it deals 4 damage to the next minion your opponent plays. Whereas Mage got this: Explosive Runes, where after your opponent plays a minion, you deal 6 damage to it, so 2 times more for 1 more mana, but the excess also goes face, and this makes this card just ridiculously powerful. It's been an auto-include in every Secret Mage list ever since it came out in Wild. It not only destroys pretty much any minion, it does an incredible amount of face damage. They play 1/1, they take 5 damage. If you play 1/1 against Snipe, it does die, but you don't take the face damage. Just way, way more powerful, and it's just one of those secrets where you look at the two and you're like, what happened here? Just for 1 more mana, you get a hell of a lot more than that. Number 7, we have Ethereal Conjurer. This is like a League of Explorers card. It's for Mage. It's a 5 mana 6/3 and has Battle Cry, discover a Mage spell. And you compare it to the Wand Thief card from Skullman's Academy, which is a 1 mana 1/2, so 5 times less for the same effect, and combo discover a Mage spell. So you do have to combo it. It's not just a Battle Cry, but again, it's 1 mana, not exactly that hard to do. And it's available to both Mage and Rogue, and honestly, Mage spells are a hell of a lot better now than they were back then. And this card, it just puts Ethereal Conjurer to shame. Conjurer never really saw meta play. Wand Thief is basically in every single Mage and Rogue deck, period, because of how ridiculously powerful it is. Because yeah, discovering a Mage spell is pretty good when it's 1 freaking mana. At number 6, we're going very old school. The basic card, Chill Wind Yeti. It's a 4 mana 4/5, and we're gonna go against the rules a little bit here. This has been power crept pretty hard by just class cards. Just take a look at Groundskeeper for Shaman and Druid. It's a 4 mana 4/5. It has Taunt and it has Battle Cry. If you're holding a spell of 5 or more, you heal for 5, and it doesn't really see play, so I guess you see why it gets power crept. You also have Circus Amalgam. Is a neutral 4 mana 4/5 amalgam with Taunt. Pretty much better, except it dies to like Galaka Crawler and Hungry Crab. But other than that, yeah, Chillwind Yeti was actually a meta card, and now has been power crept out of the game. And even you can look at Lorekeeper Polkelt, which is a neutral legendary that was a 4 mana 4/5, and yeah, Chillwind Yeti, it's seen better days and not exactly quite the powerhouse it used to be, if you could really call it a powerhouse. At number 5, we have the Rogue Spell Sprint, 7 mana, draw 4 cards. It was power crept by Juicy Psych Melon, which was a druid spell, 4 mana, effectively draw 4 cards. You could say it's worse because you have to run, you know, expensive greedy cards, but when you have cards like Aviana Kun, is that really a bad thing? But yes, there are some pros and cons to this, but the more egregious example is Secret Passage, which is 1 mana, effectively draw 4 cards. Yes, you only have that turn to play them, but when all your cards are relatively cheap, it's ridiculous. Also, when you play a card, let's say like Evil Miscreant or Wand Thief, the cards you add to your hand, you keep in your hand. So sometimes it ends up being 1 mana draw like 8 cards. It can be more than 4. This card is just insanely ridiculous. And don't forget, it used to draw 5 cards. So one of the most egregious examples of power creep in my opinion, and just a ridiculous card of Secret Passage and Sprint. Did see a lot of meta play back in the day, but are you really going to play 7 mana draw 4 or prep sprint at 5 mana? It's just not going to happen. Even if prep was unnerfed, it still wouldn't happen today. At number 4, we have the Mage Spell Arcane Intellect, 3 mana, draw 2 cards. This card has been power crept so many times. You could say like indirectly of like Solemn Vigil, Aeroponics, Cutting Class. Effectively, they are 5 mana draw 2, but very easily become 1, 0, 3 mana, 2 mana draw 2. But you also have cards like Swindle, which is just 2 mana draw 2 as long as you combo it. Witch Tutors, which is arguably better. You have Spectral Sight from Demon Hunter, 2 mana draw 2 if it's Outcast. You have Acrobatics, which is Arcane Intellect and strictly better unless you're worried about fatiguing, I suppose. It draws 2 cards and you could draw 2 more. Intellect has been power crept just a ridiculous amount of times, and that card's still pretty good. It still sees play in some mage decks, and that just shows you like how ridiculous that effect is. And when you power creep on it, yeah, those cards are going to see a ton of play. At number 3, we have the Hunter spell Explorer's Hat. It's a 2 mana spell for a hunter, and you would, give it to a minion, gives a +1/+1. If it died, it returned to your hand. And this was really slow, didn't see much play, and Blizzard learned from this, so they made Libram of Wisdom, exactly the same card for Paladin, except with other Libram discounters, this can become 0, and you have 0 mana +1/+1 infinitely, unless it's like silenced or sapped or whatever. And yeah, it's been really good in Paladin. After a while, wasn't really good right away, but yeah, now with cards like Penflinger, all the stuff going on, Libram Paladin has been ridiculous compared to Explorer's Hat. It's just crying in a corner, just looking like, why can't I cost 0? Maybe I could have done some good. In that vein, we have at number 2, Elven Archer, the 1 mana 1/1 battle cry, deal 1 damage, and it actually kind of got power crept a little bit by all these Og Merchant cards I'm showing here, but they couldn't technically go face, but they had better stat lines. They gave a bonus effect, whether it be Divine Shield, spell damage, or rush, but okay, they can't go face. But then you got Penflinger, 1 mana 1/1 battle cry, deal 1 damage with spell burst, return it to your hand. So it's Elven Archer, but you could effectively go infinite with cards like Libram of Wisdom. It's just way better. It's still a common, it's still a neutral, it's just ridiculous. But there is a bit of an advantage for Elven Archer. If you want that tempo of that insane 1/1 on the board, you can actually play a spell without losing that tempo. Do you think that kind of outweighs the power creep? Probably not, but there's your argument. But yeah, an absolute ridiculous comparison. Pretty much, why would you ever run Elven Archer now that Penflinger is a card? And before we get to number 1, I want to give some honorable mentions. The first 2, basically, they were originally really good and then nerfed, and because they're nerfed, they've been power crept since. So we have Fiery War Axe for Warrior, 3 mana 3/2 warrior weapon, no text, nothing. And you look at like Hunter, they have 2 3 mana 3/2 weapons with text. You have a Shaman one, you have a Paladin one that they're just strictly better. But because War Axe used to be 2, it pays that price, and you kind of wish that they did a little bit more with War Axe and just make it a 3 mana 3/2. You have Wild Growth, a 3 mana get a empty mana crystal for druid spell. You look at Jade Blossom, you just get a Jade, which is strictly better unless you're at 10, arguably, because you don't get excess mana. But then you also have like Breath of Dreams, which is 2 mana, gain a mana crystal, draw a card, but then again you have to be holding your dragon. So pretty much power crept, but there are arguments against that. Of course, River Crocodile, didn't really include it because it's not really been a meta card, but 2 mana 2/3 beast, neutral. I mean, look at Galaka Crawler, look at Panthera here. They're 2 mana 2/3 beast, and they do something on top of that. Strictly better, and just, yeah, blatant power creep. But again, it's River Croc. Are we really crying over that? Not really, but it's just kind of a funny observation. So at number 1, although this card is not really meta It's too iconic. It's too memed on. It's literally in the thumbnail. And that's Silverback Patriarch, the basic card, 3 mana, 1/4 beast with taunt. Just terrible card, but you got cards like Stonehill Defender, which is a 3 mana 1/4 battle cry, discover another taunt. You have No More Man Infantry, 3 mana 1/4 charge with taunt. And most recently, you have a 3 mana 1/6 with taunt when it has full health, +2 attack an overconfident orc. Just a hell of a lot better than Silverback, plus Silverback died to Hemet. Completely unplayable card. But yeah, I guess that Beast Tribe must be worth a hell of a lot to warrant its bad stat line and lack of effect compared to all of these other cards. Let me know in the comments below any other examples of cards that were power crept. Hell, you could let Arcane Explosion with Maelstrom Portal. That's one I didn't even mention. There's plenty of others. Let me know in the comments below, or ones you disagree with. Maybe this card's better for some reason. Let me know in the comments below. It's always a fun debate to have. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.